All right. So this is going to be my first podcast that I've done for Big Barks Tech Hub. I've never done one. And this is just a little sample of what I've been working on. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time. So now this is how I'm going to start it. And I'm going to start it off with actually talking about attention deficit disorder, which is ADHD, and how you can overcome that and still learn in the world in 2025 and going forward. So a lot of the things that I've talked about before is just tech, but let's get started off with something that makes a little bit more sense. The first thing I want to talk about is how can you learn while having attention deficit disorder, or not even having it at all? This is still just a better way to learn. Because I started looking and researching overseas and seeing how people actually learn across the world and why their education system seems to be so much better. And they use a system similar to the system that we use for students that have a learning disability. But they just do it with such repetition that people remember it. We have a system where you do something in a week, you do a bunch of different topics, or it could be just one topic, but it's a bunch of different things. And if you fail it, you just fail it. You don't learn. So overseas, it's not that way. They do it in such repetition until someone learns it that they have very little failure. To us here in the United States, we're seeing schools that have dropout rates of 40%, even people with learning disabilities at 40%. And a lot of those classes can only hold 5 to 10 people. So this is a little bit of things I would like to talk about to help out those people or just anyone in general. The first thing I'm actually going to talk about is how you can learn and what tools you can use. Sorry if I'm seeming to repeat myself. This is the first time that I'm actually doing something like this. So one of the first tools I'd like to use and talk about is music. Music is a huge one, especially right now, lo-fi. Everyone's heard of the lo-fi girl, but there is many types of lo-fi. People are creating lo-fi. There's gamer lo-fi. There's anime lo-fi. There's companies like Republic of Gamers, which is Asus's gaming section of their company. They even have their own lo-fi, which a lot of people don't even know and don't even research. But even doing my own research and giving a bunch of things a try, having a learning disability myself, this is one of the things that I noticed that is so amazing and so powerful that can keep you going forward. Because a lot of people with learning disabilities, they're just not good at reading, or they just can't concentrate on one thing at the same time. The power of music can help you do that. And lo-fi is probably the most powerful thing I've ever used in reading to keep my focus. The next is video tutorials. A lot of people just don't learn just by reading. Some learn by video, which was started years ago, if anyone remembers, in the 90s, Schoolhouse Rock. That's showing my age because I'm 38 years old, but Schoolhouse Rock, I remember a teacher giving me the video because I was not keeping up with other students. So she gave me a Schoolhouse Rock video to take home and listen to. I remember one of them was one of my teachers. This is back in elementary school. And I had another teacher do it once in 3rd grade and once in 5th grade. So next, I want to go over something. It's called Coursera. Coursera has a mix and blend of video and you can read at the same time for their learning lessons. They went publicly traded and quickly are becoming the number one source to go to for education. You can get your certifications. Like I learned my Google certification. I'm going to take my CompTIA A+. I've been slacking on it for the past couple years, but I'm finally going to take it this year. It can teach you cybersecurity. They have their own cybersecurity program, but it's not just Coursera's. Google has their own, IBM has their own, and also now Microsoft has their own, all on Coursera. So you can read and watch the video at the same time and follow along. Even has notes of everything that you're going to do in those videos. So you can read over those notes. You can watch the video. And a lot of times you have that aha moment when you watch a video and read, or vice versa, and you can go back. It is probably one of the best tools I've ever used to learn something. And it's literally how I learned to build PCs the correct way, was through that program. but mine was through the Google IT program. They have many others. Google has digital marketing, cybersecurity. They have UX design, which I felt was really interesting, but I felt there could have been more hands-on step-by-step projects while doing that. And then they have another IT that includes Python and automation. Now that one doesn't seem to be as popular, but it seems like they redid it and added AI to it. They even have AI tutors to help you along with those programs. Next is something new. It's called Coding Cards. Now, this was a very small company that actually started a coding card program. And now the coding cards have changed quite a lot. They've expanded into t-shirts. The company's expanded and does a heck of a lot more than it used to. And I love it myself. This is probably one of the best tools that you can just take and look at as reference when you're coding. Not just video tutorials, another way to read while you code. And they even have affiliate programs. So if you like it a lot and want to show it on a channel or talk about it on a podcast like I am, you can get affiliate links, which I will put some affiliate links I know on YouTube. So this is my first time doing a podcast. I haven't put it on the others, but I'll see how that goes and see how that works. The next one is just motivational speakers. When you actually listen to motivational speakers, they help you out a great deal and push you forward. And another one I've looked at was Garrett J. White. He has more of a old school Christian way of doing things. Another one is John Sopnez. He was a programmer and he even runs two programs. One is Simple Programmer and the next one would be Bulldog Mindset, which I've read both books before. And on another podcast, I'll actually go into detail on those things. The last thing I'm going to talk about today, because I'm just making this the short podcast, this is going to be the first, is actually Leveling Up. It is a book that plans out your days and your weeks and your months in like an RPG aspect. It's probably my favorite book that I've ever read. It's called, like I said, Leveling Up, How to Master the Game of Life by Eric Sui. He also has a podcast that's really beneficial. I love it. The book is great. Everything he does is really amazing. I remember when I first got the book, he had to purchase his podcast through him, but now you don't have to. You can get it on Audible. So those are the few things I want to go over on the start of this podcast that can help you. And there's some tools to help you when you have attention deficit disorder. Because I know having attention deficit disorder and seeing other people, and when I was in foster care for about 12 and a half years, growing up with my aunt, she would try to teach me, but she had a hard time teaching me because she had never taught someone with a learning disability before. And they didn't have these tools. So she had to get a lot of external help from the foster care system, which at that point they did have, not as much anymore, which is sad because the funding is not the same as it was in the 90s for learning disabilities and research. Now that they have these tools that you can just do on your own, it's pretty amazing. They even have a program called OVR to help out if you have a learning disability. But even if you don't have a learning disability, these tools can still help you a great deal, and I would highly consider doing them. All right, so this is Jonathan at BigbarksTechHub. I'm signing off for now, but just stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more information. I'm going to do a lot more podcasts, a lot more videos on tech. These are the things I do that I love to do, so I will be continuing on. I'll see you guys.